The story begins with a girl in brand face, living alone in a house in a fairly empty place. Brown is very confused about how to deal with people and how to interact with people. How to talk to them. How will he talk? He made a small diorama of his village in his house, which is made of miniature dolls. He is a tailor by profession and earns some by making small dresses. Dressed well and will leave the house at that moment, he can notice a strange spot in front of the house. Brand cleans it with water. The brand is going to deliver their own handmade garments to the customers. But as I said, the girl is a little strange. No one talks to her. As we can see, Brand says hi to a boy, but the boy doesn't pay him any attention. He is covering his head as if she has committed some big mistake. The Brand is hiding her face. Brand delivers the package and then walks to his mother's grave in the graveyard. But there were a few other people in the cemetery who looked at Brian again. Brian immediately hiding his face again and running away. Brand sees an old man and an old police officer on the street. You will see Brand hiding and seeing these scenes. One thing is confirmed, that probably something happened to Brian with these people. So he does not hide his face. Brand returns home. Perhaps a parcel has arrived for him. We look at the Brand to make us happy, but there is no one to give him pleasure. She is dancing alone, eating and drinking alone. There are some places from her childhood, such as her school playground. She is taking pictures of them and she is writing a letter to one. The girl she is writing to is Maud. She whereabouts are still unknown, but Brand misses her dearly. By reading that letter, we can know that Brian is saying sorry to Maud, that girl. Asking for forgiveness from her, she herself has done something wrong due to which she cannot forgive herself. And this is how she spends her life. A completely alone girl. She has no one to talk to. So she found different ways to keep herself busy. But that day and night, everything changed. Brand herself has an unexpected guest at home. Well, the name of the movie is No One Will Save You. The movie is directed by Brian Duffield. He was also a scriptwriter of several good movies. And the most unique thing about this whole movie is that there is no dialogue in this movie. No one is saying anything. We understand what is happening in the story by seeing the actions of each person. So there was a discussion. Every day she lives the life of the Brand in the same way. But that night, everything changed. Someone arrives at Brand's house that night. When Brandy was sleeping and he was no man. Brian couldn't get her face right at first. It is naturally hidden there. Later, at the age of quizzes, Shay saw the beast's face. Obviously, it's an alien. But what kind of alien? As the ideal alien of Hollywood movies. Roughly 50 years ago, people thought of the face as an alien. Its face is exactly the same, but the Brand is extremely scared. A tall alien is walking in her room. It is to be feared. Think how scared you would be if a big alien entered your empty house at night. Brands are just as afraid. The house is being thoroughly searched. In the event the aliens know how human machines work, they probably have telekinetic powers. There is a power due to which they are able to control the electronics, like lights, TV, or other things. What else a thief police game has started in that house? Brand is somehow hiding from the aliens. But the aliens have seen Branda. She tries to escape but fails. Because aliens have telepathic powers. They can lift and control any object through the power of their mind and hands. So that alien uses his power to pull Brand to himself. But Brand had a piece of that diorama. I mean, Brand made those small houses. With a piece of it, he directly hit the alien's head. I mean, like a knife, it is inserted into the alien's head. As a result, the alien died there. Brand is sitting with her eyes open the next morning. I could not sleep the whole night. And how will she sleep? And this is not a daily occurrence. The house where the body of an alien lies. Brand's first task is to call people for help. But there is no phone connection at home. There is no electricity. The car that she will escape with is also not running. Maybe those aliens cut the electricity in her house. Brand then freshened up a bit, changed her clothes, and went out on her bicycle to the city. On her way, she finds that almost all the people in his small village have disappeared, and there are small wheel marks in the grass that are obviously from those days. I will see how it went later. Brand arrives at the police station in the city, but coming in front of the face, she sees her best friend Maud's mother. The police were there. The old woman, Maud's mother, spits in Brand's face and left from there. And this again suggests that something is probably up with Brian. She did something that made her unable to show his face. She went there to report on that day. But after seeing what happened to her, she left the place crying. Almost she can't show her face to anyone. Although there are no people in her village, she came looking all ready. What will she gain from there? She sat on the bus and quietly left the city trying to get out, but the other passengers in the bus started attacking her. However, the rest of the passengers are not unknown. Know them by brand. One of them is the mailman. Those people are no longer behaving like people. A sound like a beast is coming out of their mouth. And they have something stuck in their throat like a parasite, which is forcing those people to behave like animals. So anyway, the mailman tries to catch the brand, but Brian will somehow save her life and go down to another place. She ran away from there. Ahead is a cemetery where Maud, her the best friend, was buried. Yes, her dear friend is dead. How remains to be seen. Notices a cloud in the sky coming towards her. But death is very unnatural. Of course, it is not a cloud, but a big spaceship. But one by one, big spaceships are coming towards the city. Where will Brian run now? The other people of that town have been infected. And the beast is behaving like a beast. Her neighbour also raised his hand towards the sky and made a strange noise. Brian realises she's messed up. And of course, she killed the alien. Now the friends of the alien's family will come. She didn't notice the death alien's mouth, as if something had gone out into the forest. Well, that is not yet known. However, a large spaceship landed above Brian's house. All the doors and windows of Brian's room were opened, but it is of no use. We can see a blue light coming into Brian's room. Through the light, the body of the dead alien floats out, and a small alien is sent to capture Brand. Then the hiding started again in that house. Means thief police game. Brand is trying to hide many times. That alien has caught the Brand many times. If he had tried to kill Brand, he would have. But he doesn't and finds a picture of her in Brander's hand. That alien sees that picture with his mind. The picture was of Brian and her best friend's Maud. Childhood pictures. Perhaps the alien is trying to understand or know Brian. On the other hand, another small alien has been sent home. He is not very calm. He teases the Brand a lot. Brand bites his hand and runs away, even pouring hot water from the oven on himself. The blue light of the spaceship that can attract everything but the aliens doesn't matter. It means that the Brand has a big pan in hand. That is made by metal. It is twisted and twisted cause for hit, but the aliens are not affected by hit his. Brian bravely faced the little alien and finally killed him and fled from there. But there are no more aliens. There are many different types of aliens. This is an alien in the shape of a large house. He is secretly watching the Brand, almost as if Brian has become a most wanted man for them. Those large alien spaceships may contain higher-ranking aliens, and those who are sent below are probably servants too. But the servants have failed. Their only job is to bring the Brand. But they are failing. That's why the big tall alien tries to catch Brand easily. Brian hides in a car and then gets out. But the alien with long legs went to catch him. At the end, the face goes into the small car. Oil was leaking from the car. At that opportunity, Brian sets the car on fire and the big alien also dies. Because of the blue color sent so many aliens, they can't catch the Brand anyway. But remember, there are other aliens in Brian's house. Brian and Maud noticed the childhood photos. No more attacking the Brian, he is trying to get to know the Brand. He is in Brian's room where Brian has left all his friends' childhood memories. The alien is scrutinizing everything from their old letters to their pictures. The alien knows Brian is hiding in the house. He didn't just come to catch the Brand, but to learn about it. Finally, they managed to bring Brian under their control. This time, with a bin of red color, they have blocked the Brian completely. Then the alien came from there and took out a parasite from inside her own mouth. by which they keep other people sitting themselves. One such parasite entered Brian's throat. The next morning, Brain woke up. Everything is completely normal, as if nothing happened here. And she sees her best friend Maud in front of her own eyes. She realizes that these are all imaginations. She pulled the parasite out of her throat and returns to the real world. 4 or 5 of these aliens have completely taken over. Only UFOs in the sky. The parasite that Brian removed from her throat suddenly transformed and took the form of another human like Brian. Such a girl takes shape. Maybe it is a type of cloning process of those aliens. It means that they cannot make people work directly. That's why they can make human clones and use them to do some work. But the clone, Brian, tries to kill the original Brian, but she failed. The original Brian had a knife that he used to kill the clones. But finally, after a lot of hiding, they pulled the brand of the UFO inside themselves. Brian is finally captured by the aliens. And now they're going to look inside Brian's brain. They're going to see what's going on in Brian's head. What is she thinking? What really happened to her? Why is she different from the people of this town? The brand is sent through a simulation. A fictional world where Brian is clearly seeing her past before her eyes. She was energetic when she was young, but the police outside her house because that day Brand had done such a thing that her guilt still remains in her, because of which she cannot show her face to anyone. Her best friend Maud had an argument with Brand, and that's when little Brian accidentally hits Maud in the head with a rock. And there, the best friend died. And this one small event changed the entire world of the Brian. When the story begins, you will see that Brian's house is completely different from other houses. Almost a decade has passed in an empty space, but nothing has changed. No one has forgotten that incident. No one has forgiven her yet. Where Brown is suffering every day. She is getting her own pain. He realized her mistake. No one actually talks to her. Those aliens know Brand completely. After fully examining her, they started discussing among themselves that what should they do with the Brand now? And they do nothing to the Brand. Just quit. They sent Brand back to her place. The next morning the weather is bright. Absolutely fresh in the Brand. She started her day with full energy as usual. And now she has plenty of people to talk to. Every person is replying, hi, hello to Brand. Brian's dream of almost a decade has now become the final 100. Now she can talk, can be happy, can dance. After all, she can forgive herself. But people were so quick to forgive Brian. Of course not, because there's no one else there except Brian. There are human clones made by aliens, and the sky is the frontier of those alien UFOs. The whole city has been taken over by aliens. They just let go of the Brand. But the question is why? Brand has killed many of their aliens. So here's why the Brand is special. First of all, you need to understand who the story is about. Is the story a story of aliens or Brand's story, or a science fiction story? The story is specifically about the Brand. We saw the world through her eyes. When the aliens examine her properly, they realize there is not much difference between the two of them. Brian, it was almost like an alien. No one spoke to her or treated her well. Almost no one believed that she existed. Instead, the aliens gave Brain what she had wanted for a decade. She wanted human company, and she finally got it. The guilt of the wrong she has done is still in her grasp. Those aliens noticed that. That's why they show a different enthusiasm for Brian, and they give Brian a second chance. Even if we remove the alien part from the entire movie, what did we see? The Brand no one talks to. And do you really want it from the heart? Let the story end like this. A mistake made by her in her childhood when she was immature, she will suffer the punishment of her mistake for the rest of her life.